Welcome back to the Virgo Channel. My name is Laura Finu, my channel. I'm going to do a general message for you. Know that energy is fluid, rose could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play it as karmic themes to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is, right? There's many different realities that play out at one time. Why do you want to be stuck in a reality that makes you angry, right? No one chooses to be in that type of reality. Well, usually people don't. There are some people that actually like drama, but they don't want to actually be the one that's angry. They want to be usually the one that has created the drama and it doesn't affect them, right? So we don't have any control over other people. We do have control over ourselves, though. And karma is based on what we do. So a lot of times when you're dealing with a karmic mate, you have the best intention, but you're with somebody that doesn't have the best intention. So we're like, why do we attract that person? What is the whole spiritual significance? Sometimes people have problems within their finances, and they want to know why that's always been. Like um, money seems to flow into other people's life easily, you may perceive, or a lot easier than you, where you're like, I'm still struggling to like pay my rent. Finances are still not good, where you might have feel like you've done like a lot of things to like heal that energy. So understand spiritual issues play out as karmic experiences and not just karmic experiences within your love life and your relationships, but your health in every area of your life because you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And that's a good thing. You know why? Because being that you're a spiritual being, that there's many different realities that are playing out at one time because you are you are how can I say this without sounding like corny? It's not that you're God, but you have God inside of you. There is no separation, and God is all knowing. And so there's always a solution. There's always a solution for your problem, and there's always a way to to make sure that you avoid negative karmic outcomes as well as that you get to see a positive outcome. Now, if you've lived lack, that you actually see abundance. If you always feel like unworthy, you get to see yourself accepted. Again, many different realities, but it depends on what you do. A lot of times we get stuck in the story of what happened and why we feel we couldn't do what we needed to do. So oh my goodness, look what I found here. We get overstimulated and then we get again overstimulated. We get sensitivity overload, which is pretty much the same thing. And then we get have empathy. I saw this one come out, the sensitivity overload. That's why I said, oh my goodness, because the underlining energy is that you're overstimulated. That again, that there's almost like too much thought, too much emotion towards trying to create something. So almost like having a grip too tight on trying to manifest something, and it's creating a lot of anxiety. It's creating a lot of overstimulation, which is making you feel inadequate. It's making you feel like there's something wrong, where spirit says you are present. So you know that you are present, but spirit says it's time to go inward. And again, that inspiration is called from what inspired you to actually do what you do. When you get to the heart of why you're passionate about what you love, then the focus is on what you're doing. It's not on how you're doing it. sensitivity overload here is pretty much the same as overstimulated. It's just like you're trying to do something and it's just not working. So like I said, you're trying to manifest something and you're trying to create something and it's like you're putting so much pressure on yourself that you don't really feel like it's working. You don't really feel like it's going anywhere. And so we also have mother wound and we have narcissist abuse. So the wound that you're actually healing is growing up in an environment where you had a mother narcissist and to the point that you were not allowed to have your unfoldment process. So when a child is sensitive to be, all children are sensitive, okay, because they're not used to the world yet, right? They haven't lived enough experience and they're really reliant on their parents, for their safety. And if you had a mother that you know, didn't have that appropriate attachment style to you, and then on top of it, just kind of treated you as if you were an extension of them, then understand, you would be someone that was overstimulated a lot because you weren't allowed to have your unique unfoldment process. You weren't allowed to have your own identity. Narcissists tend to act as if their children are an extension of them. And so what we see here, the narcissistic abuse will show up as manipulation, control, and devaluing, leading to self-doubt, confusion, and diminishing self-worth. We see mother wound here, which is the saying, shows up as not that love was not conditional. It was it only came with conditions and that you didn't get what you needed from that parent. So you were more like willing to be a people pleaser to try to get that emotional support from other people because there was a fear of rejection and also difficulty in trusting and caring for oneself because if you grew up in an environment without a mom, what you're taught is that you always have to be working, that you don't matter, that you don't matter unless you're doing something, unless you're giving something. So you're not really allowed to relax. You're not really allowed to have your own unique unfoldment process. You're being told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, because the parent associates that child with, you know, who they are. So if the child doesn't get perfect grades, if the child doesn't join things that is going to give, that parent some accolades for being such a great parent, well, then again, the mother doesn't form this appropriate emotional connection because they can't, because they didn't get it, first of all. So their cup isn't full. So if anything, they're continuously taking from their child and they're doing it through manipulation, control, and devaluation. And so this is what creates the sensitivity overload because, again, it'll show up as mentally overwhelmed, easily triggered, and overstimulated by external stimuli. So, not feeling safe, obviously. If you always feel that I'm not safe, and then you're trying to process your emotions and your thoughts, but you have this mental fatigue and this anxiety and just a sense of not being able to get a grip because of being overstimulated. So Spirit's saying it's like that's the gift of being with an empath. If you grew up with a narcissist, it's not uncommon that you have the gift of empathy and sensitivity. However, empathy, like that empath energy, which is comes with being a highly sensitive person, is what gives you spiritual gifts. But it's a double-edged sword. Like I said, it's like if you grew up with a narcissist, you were conditioned to give your energy. You were conditioned that love came with, like I said, conditions that you had to pretty much abandon yourself, do what you needed to do in order to survive. And so that overstimulation, which happens when you're with somebody that you care about, let's just say, but they continually show you that you can't trust them. So, like loving a mother that's abusive, but also knowing you can't trust her, but then keeping her around obviously is overstimulating. So you're not able to really create a life when you're in that phase, in that mind frame. So that it shows that that's pretty much how you grew up. And that's what you're clearing. And you're clearing like feelings of inadequate, feeling like there's something wrong with you because, again, of that overstimulation. So understand if you put a lot of pressure on yourself, that may create overstimulation, right? And that's because, hey, you're still hearing the words of your mother in the past. And so, and you're treating yourself the way that your mother treated you. And that comes from, again, growing up in an environment with a narcissist. You're not taught how to take care of yourself. You're not taught how to treat yourself. And so you're actually conditioned to not like yourself. And that's what happens when you're giving all your energy away to family or to whoever that was narcissistic. But these are your childhood wounds. And these are what is influencing your energy. What's influencing your energy is that you're a highly sensitive person, that you get overstimulated. It's that you have like lots of things that inspire you, that you get ideas, but you haven't really brought them fully into fruition yet. And that is because, again, there is a lack of this nurturing of yourself. There's a sense of pushing, 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 and still treating yourself not not nicely. Like I said, we tend to treat ourselves the way that that abusive parent treated us when we are a wounded empath. So spirit thing, like you're still wounded because you get overstimulated. And the overstimulation is a sign that you're not safe. And you're not safe not because of other people, you're not safe because of yourself. Because if you get overstimulated, then you don't think and then you're just going to react. And so, Spirit saying that's actually what you're trying to clear right now. And getting back to the fact that you are present. So, meaning that you are spirit, that you are God, just like in this physical form. And why I say that is you're able to take your spiritual energy and apply it towards what you want to create to manifest. And that's there's no separation between you and that energy. And I only, again, are repeating myself because if you grew up with a narcissistic parent, then there's a real sense of I'm inadequate. There's something wrong with me because you were conditioned to believe that because the narcissists believe that about themselves, and usually it's passed on. It's that ancestral karma that's being passed on, which is the sensitivity is an inherited trait, and then the ancestral karma, and that's how your parents talk to each other, how they were talked to as children, how their parents talked to them when they were children, and how they're talking to you. And then if you're going to talk the same way to your children, or you talk to your siblings the way that they talk to you, and when I'm saying that, it's again the inherited wounds are vows. It's like if you're talking like negatively, if you're cursing, if you're, which remember, manipulation is usually done not just through gaslighting, but it's also done by, belittling, making you not feel safe, so which understand all happens when you grow up with a narcissistic mother. And that there was no actual connection, because that narcissist didn't know how to give you the love and the attention that you needed because they never got it. And so that's the inherited things that get passed down. But you may not have those things, but then you would then inherit the overstimulation of feeling inadequate, of feeling that I'm not safe. I can't make my life work because of this sensitivity, is what spirit's saying. So empaths need to master their sensitivity because it's a spiritual walk. Having the gift of sensitivity is exactly that. It's a gift. But if you don't master it, it's a gift that is a double-edged sword. It will take you down. And like I said, it'll make you feel like you're inadequate when you're around certain difficult people. Having a mother that's a narcissist, that means it was the first relationship that you had. And so there's a lot of other people that show up in your life that represent your mother that will, you know, treat you the same way. The meaning that you're going to get the same karmic theme over and over and over and over again, because it's not about trusting the people in your environment or making them do anything. It's about you handling those people differently. And it's by mastering your sensitivity. It's like empaths have healing energy. So you would be kind, you would be forgiving. That is your nature. What's not your nature is the feeling like there's something wrong with you because of your sensitivity, is what spirit's saying. So let's see how else that is playing out, because it's like that could be playing out that is influencing you in with your job. It can influence you in every area of your life, the oversensitivity. So I'm feeling like for a lot of you guys, you're trying to create something, trying to make something manifest. And again, you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing, and it's not an easy unfoldment process. Like it's like you're questioning your process instead of like surrendering to the process. A lot of times in surrendering to the process, you're not going to have a good day. It's not going to be a perfect day. There's sometimes the Olympian, person that's going to go into the Olympics, or whatever you call those people, like the Olympian, like is going to they'll try out for their let's just say ice skating, and they have a great day on the ice, and then they have a few great days on the ice, and then the one day they get on the ice and it's complete shit. No matter what they do, it's like it's just a bad day. It's just it doesn't work. And sometimes, unfortunately, it's not one day, it's a few days. But when we're consistent, we work through it. Again, we find our process. When we show resilience. And when we show resilience, again, like we wind up seeing like another way. We get to see things from a different view instead of judging the process. Part of the sensitivity overload is the actual judging of your process. It's trying to think too much, trying to again, make things happen before they actually happen, worrying that they might not happen instead of just being present and in the moment and relaxed. Again, relaxed. You can be relaxed when you're in the moment, because in the moment you're in the breath, right? In the moment, you're focused on what you're doing. It shows that you're not in the moment. You're judging. And you're judging because of previous things that have transpired, especially if you're clearing ancestral karma, is that it's a karmic theme that continues to play out due to the fact that you or cannot separate you and your sensitivity, is what spirit's saying. So the thing is, there are certain times within a person's life that opportunities arise. And if that sensitivity gets in the way, then you can't take advantage of that opportunity. Not because you're not talented, but because the sensitivity just tends to, like I said, get in the way. So spirit's saying you have to You have to train your nervous system to be in the moment, to be in the now, whenever there's sensitivity. Like that's really what it is. You have to ground, you have to exercise, you have to be in the moment. And there's going to be no card that I really have that's in alignment with that, to be honest with you. I know when you're sensitive and you grew up with someone that's a narcissist, your sensitivity is out of whack. It's like you have to recondition your entire nervous system in order to feel okay. It's not just healing the mind, it's healing the body-mind connection. Because that overstimulation is that it's affecting, well, everything, to the point that you're stuck and frozen, and then you can't perform. You can't perform because, hey, that voice is still there. You're judging yourself. You're treating yourself the way that that parent treated you, instead of, like I said, surrender to the process and accept that some days it's just not going to be the best day. Now, let's see. I want to see, like, can we see, like, what that's in reference to? Because I'm assuming that's in reference to work. It's in reference to you trying to not just work, your sensitivity will affect every area of your life, spirit saying. So we're gonna look and see. Okay, so spirit saying right now it is a time to heal that, to be honest with you. Because if you want to know how to heal that, is to take deep breaths. It's to, again, go within, center yourself, take a break, stop pushing. Spirit saying, take time to, like, reflect, take time to rest, take time to balance yourself. Because what it is again, that overstimulation is trying to figure out, like, why things are happening the way that they are, instead of just surrendering to the process, judging your process, where spirit's saying sometimes you need to take a break. Sometimes it's, again, it's about quiet time, because that overstimulation isn't gonna all of a sudden get better from you pushing more. And this is to create anywhere in life, spirit saying, because it's affecting every area of life. If you're with a person that overstimulates you, you can't set boundaries. You can't, especially if there's wounding, especially if you grew up with a parent that you couldn't communicate your needs to. Understand, you're not going to be able to just freely communicate your needs to someone that you romantically have feelings for, if you were conditioned to be made to feel like you were not deserving of. Remember, the narcissist didn't give. The narcissist took. You are not allowed to have wants or needs. So the same habits and behaviorisms that you built to survive are going to block you in every area, and relationships as well, not just, again, work, but spirit is saying with work too. And spirit saying the key is to, again, is to stay enthusiastic about what it is that you're doing. Like, be in your passion. Do what you love to do. Spirit saying that it will ignite into something, like your power, because understand, you're judging your process of how things are manifesting. And so spirit saying, and that's what's creating the overstimulation. Understand, it's not up to you how you get to your destination of success, whatever you're trying to manifest. Spirit says it's the fact that you give enough energy into it that brings you joy, that you're, again, passionate about, fiercely passionate about. And when you're in that energy, that's when it ignites spirit, like ignites it, and you're able to manifest. So it's a building of the energy, almost kind of like an orgasm, is what it says there. Like again, the energy builds. And Spirit's saying, and part of what's happening right now is just, the destruction of old ways. Like it's an energy shift. You're changing, you're healing. So there's an opportunity to overcome this, I would say, this wound. Because again, when continually get overstimulated, you feel inadequate, you judge yourself, you tend to overgive, you do too much, you feel like you care too much. The empathy is and the sensitivity is almost like crippling. Spirit saying again, the only way to heal that is to put your energy into creating. And in that, there becomes an energy shift and an opportunity to change the way that you see how things are. And so Spirit's saying, you're in a place now where you're again, you're healing, you're balancing out, is what Spirit's saying. This is where you are right now. You're healing. And you're healing because you're like when there's the mother wound and there's overstimulation, you're actually able to see it now. Like, hey, well, like, when you're around someone that you can't trust, that's actually a natural, behaviorism that you have, and that you're able to then do something about it. You're able to like not feel helpless because when you're overstimulated to the point that you're paralyzed, and it's mainly because that your mother made you feel unworthy, not good enough, like there was something wrong with you, and then emotionally isn't there for you, and there's only taking from you. Well, Spirit saying your process is not just about creating, it's also about healing, because there's many layers to when you have a spiritual blockage with the mother, because that's the first person that teaches you about life, really. Again, your attachment style of who you wind up attracted to for the rest of your days is usually like associated with the mother, because that mother is that first person that is supposed to show you love. And if they don't show you love because they can't, because they don't love themselves, well, like I said, then they become a narcissist, and narcissists are all about manipulation. It's all about, utilizing your energy for what they need, and that includes how they want to be seen. Like you're their child, you're supposed to bring good energy. So whatever you join, you should be very successful because your accolades are their accolades. Like you're just the extension of them. And that means your energy goes towards that. And that's, like I said, that's a big thing to be healing, because it means that you're also healing other relationships that were like that. And so, and I'm going to say, why do I say that? Well, let's take a peek and see what is the energy that you're tapped into? Who is the person? What are they thinking? Or what is the dominant energy, I should say? Let's look at some hidden truths first. Again, just to see where this person is right now. Like, I feel like just random. We're not going to look at anything one way or the other. Just what are they thinking about? What are the hidden truths? The timing just wasn't right for us. I feel like this person is going to say that, but it was not the right time for them because they were not in the mindset to actually be in that. type of relationship, and now the fact that you've cut your energy off from them, because I feel you feel that this person reminds you a lot of your mother, to be honest with you. And I don't know why I get that, but it's like now that you don't want this person, they can't stop thinking about you. Um, and that they're starting to understand the connection, and so many things remind them of you, and that they wish that they could take back their words because they knew that they were not nice to you. They know that they lied to you. I feel like this person downplayed their feelings towards you. They gave you very little. And now that you're not in their life, they're reflecting because this person really saw you as a giver. They saw you as a nurturer. My life is not together as it seems. Again, so they created illusions to make you perceive that their life looked a certain way. Um, and they're really obsessive about you right now. So they're thinking about you a lot, and they're also replaying the very last time that you guys were together over and over and over and over and over in their mind. And it might have been an insignificant time where you're like it was only 5 minutes, it was only like an hour, it was really an insignificant time for you, but this person keeps replaying it. So maybe there was a kiss, maybe there was a touch, maybe there was something that was said, that is what this person is replaying over and over and over in their mind. I knew exactly what I was doing. So they're in a place of guilt because I feel like this person knew the type of relationship that this was, led you to believe that they wanted to be in a relationship, but they didn't really want to be in a monogamous relationship, and they regret lying to you because what happened is that you caught them. So this person doesn't react when people mention you. And, but you again speaking to them through music. So you're always on this person's mind. And that's the thing. It's like you're always on this person's mind. They're always thinking about you. They're obsessive, but I feel like I feel like they know that they blew the connection. And that's really what it is. It's like they wish things could be different. They want things to be different. So it's almost like now that your energy is completely cut from this person, and so they're starting to have this like anxiety. And that's because I feel like that is what's overstimulating this person, to be honest with you, because you took your power back. You're not going to be with them. They gave you very little. If anything, this person acted like a narcissist to you. And that's why you're like, no, you remind me too much of my parent. Almost like love is pain. And that that love is conditional. Like if you don't do what this person wants you to do, then what happens is it's like they're going to punish you. They're going to treat you bad. They're going to do something to you. And that's the thing. It's like this person knows that they broke the relationship, but they have so much past trauma from from relationships not working out that they're fragmented, when it comes to love. So when you have that, it's not that the person doesn't love you, but they have so much trauma and around love, which means they have trust issues, intimacy issues, and they're not going to be transparent. They're not going to be fair. They're not, they're going to treat you horribly and horribly to the point that they completely like break the relationship, and that's what you'll see. So, that's the issue. It's like they're fragmented. And it's like, so they have feelings, but it's like, listen, this person like checks out temporarily, and because they have a lot of um, past relationships that just worked out horribly. They create a lot of problems with you already, and really they think that the conversation is actually too difficult, too many problems. Like it's almost like they created too many problems in this connection that they don't really know how to fix this. And that's the thing, this person still would like to be in control. They again checked out, like I said, because they don't want to deal with it. And Spirit's saying, divine union, like use the wings of empathy to bring love and harmony. Like it's like I feel like this is not about you being with this person, but it's about again, like healing. It's more about the healing because this person was a past life karmic mate that I feel like had the opportunity to step it up to twin flame level. They didn't. There was someone that was like a narcissist, and you recognized that. You were like, oh, I already grew up with this type of energy, and I'm not going to be with it again. This person was so sure of that, possibly again, because you grew up in that. So that this person doesn't really know how to be in a monogamous, grounded, equal relationship. What they know how to do is to create a lot of intense drama, so that you're all like wrapped up in them. This is what they know how to do. They don't really know how to be in a real relationship. They'll act like it's a real one, but it's superficial. They only know how to go so deep. And that's because they haven't done any work on themselves. So they don't look at what they do. They just go from one relationship into another relationship into another relationship, and that's what this person is all about. They would never really fix it. And I know that because they're always the victim. They don't take responsibility for what they do. They're a narcissist. So they flip it, and they it's all about what the other person does to them. It's all about the fact that they're good, that they can't really open up and because of past relationships, so they can never really give you, is what Spirit's saying. Just too many barriers from past relationships. So they're so busy like trying to protect themselves that the relationship doesn't grow, it doesn't go anywhere. So it would be like being with your mother all over again. It would be like being with that again narcissist all over again because you have love blocks. And really love blocks due to the way that you were raised. So you're attracting someone that has a lot of love blocks, and part of that is that they betray. They again, they're all superficial. Everything's an illusion. It's not real. They're not strong. That person's not strong. That person is empty. They need your energy. Spirit says, so it's all about them making you consumed with them. You wouldn't have no energy for yourself. And again, that's going back into exactly what you grew up into, is what Spirit's saying. Now, if that's what has already happened to you, which is what it looks like that it already happened to you, well, then obviously you know that you need to heal because it's not about whether the person will come back, because it's not that that person doesn't have feelings for you. In their mind, they think that they have feelings for you. That a lot of times it's not that they don't, but they're so wounded that they think that love is dominance. They think that love is control. They think that, like if you're going to jump through hoops and how much are you going to take is how much you prove that you care for them. So it doesn't logically make sense because a narcissist only is caring about themselves. And so, this person doesn't really want to, they don't want to do what they need to do. Again, if this is more like, please contact me. I may not respond, but knowing that you care opens my heart. This is about you running after me. I have often felt abandoned, and because of that, I feel that other people let me down. I feel that this relationship is actually too good to be true, so I pull away out of fear, meaning like you can't possibly love me because I don't love me. So if you don't really know me, And once you get to know me, you're not really going to like me. So again, this is a person that has too many love blocks, doesn't really believe that it's possible. And because of that, that gives them a reason to stay in a victim state consciousness that this has happened to me before, so I really can't give. So you continuously need to prove yourself to me by jumping through hoops, by, lowering your standard, by, letting me utilize your energy for what I want to utilize it for. And I'm never thinking about you, is what I see. It's like I feel like I don't deserve your love, and I'm worried you'll leave me when you see who I really am. And that's really what it comes down to. This person doesn't like themselves. They're like, you would never really like me unless they can come in like a whirlwind and sweep you off your feet and have all this hot sex, passion, and that you fall for them and everything like that. And this person doesn't want to even be bothered because there are subconscious fears that are affecting their ability to attract love and abundance. And the universe is helping make them clear, to actually both of you, because if you're attracting this person, you also have blocks. But understand this person is realizing. And so the truth of the matter is, I don't believe that you're supposed to be with this person. I believe that there are sometimes people come into our lives to just pretty much show us where we need healing, and that you showed this person where they need healing, but they're not really on a high vibration. That's the thing. There's somebody that's very logical, very analytical. They're not spiritual. They only care about themselves. So they've been so grounded all their life that, yeah, they know that they can feel that there's spiritual connection. They're not going to deny it, but they don't really know what it means, and they're not going to surrender to it. They're going to try and like think about it and think about it and think about it. This person is so logical and analytical, and that's the thing. It's like they judge this connection instead of surrender to it, and they can't surrender to it because it's triggering. But really, if they would surrender to it from a higher perspective, they would be releasing like this negative energy, clearing past energy, because they get to see a different version of, you know, love for them. But they don't do that. It's like they still are handling the relationship the way that they did when they got together with people that they claim hurt them, but I really feel like this person hurts people, that they don't really want to be accountable, that they don't really want to do the healing. It's like I said, it's not that they don't have dream, they don't daydream about you. Yeah, but it's a lot of it's sexual, and then yeah, sometimes it's about their future, but it's not, they don't know who you are. And they don't know who you are because they really haven't taken the time to build that. And so this relationship really isn't about you going back with this person. What this is showing is that both of you have inner child wounds that need to be healed, and that you both need to comfort them. And I say that because you got this and you got this, which is the subconscious fears are affecting our ability to attract love and abundance, and that includes each other. So you attracted this person into your life because of your blocks, because of your inner child wounds, of again growing up with a narcissistic parent, of not getting the love and the nurturing that you needed, of feeling inadequate because that parent was abusive and they would overstimulate you. This person too is abusive. This person too is again wounded, and it doesn't mean that they didn't go through the same thing that you did. Like a lot of times the narcissist and the empath go through the same exact thing. It's the way that they learned how to deal with it. So this person like that saw you as an empath really saw you as that you were going to give, because an empath that grows up in that type of an environment, and if you shared what type of environment, which again, if it felt like a real soul relationship, it wouldn't be uncommon if you did, well, then they already knew that you were going to be a giver. And I feel like what's happened is it's like you're breaking that cycle. have an opportunity to break that cycle, and understand that's what that person is afraid of, that you would break that cycle. But Spirit's saying that's their issue. They would still want you to do the work. It's like they're not coming towards you right now because, like I said, they would need to, surrender their ego, apologize, treat you with equal give and take reciprocity. And there's part of them that really doesn't want to do that. It's like they're still not 100% like healed. And it doesn't mean that they don't care. That they care, but this is the level that they will care. And even if they're head over heels for you, eventually they will revert back to the way that they were because it's what makes them comfortable. It's again, right now, they'll say that they're afraid of losing you and that they don't want you to give up on them, and they want a second chance, Spirit's saying. It's not like they don't, but the childhood wounding is influencing their actions. So what you see is the person that has so many self-sabotaging behaviorisms. So what they're holding on to, a cognitive dissonance. I want you, but I don't want you due to past relationships. So because of my past relationships, I want to have the relationship on my term, which is that the person has unhealthy attachments. So that could be other people. It could be, addictions. It could be anything that this person utilizes again, as something that's going to give them supply because they can't fill themselves up. Remember, this person would want you to dummy down so that they can utilize your energy for what they want to utilize it for. And when they don't get it, oh, sorry. Wow. Sorry about that. When they don't get it, they give you the silent treatment because this person is really emotionally not available to give you what you need because they're a narcissist. So they don't know how to fill up their own cup. So will they come back? Yeah, they're going to come back, but there will always be obstacles. This person will always, there will always be obstacles because they haven't done any healing. It's not that they're not obsessive about you, they are. You're the first person on their mind, when they wake up in the morning. But again, they act like they don't care when deep down they really do. And that's again how they show that they are not emotionally intelligent and that they're continuously battling inner demons because part of them wants to be a narcissist, wants to get that supply, wants to get fulfilled, wants to be made to feel important, doesn't want to do the healing work. So as long as you would be with them, you would have to put up with the fact that they had unhealthy attachments, that, childhood wounding would always be influencing this person's behaviors, always. And you would be, like I said, in a one-sided relationship that made you feel exactly like your mom. Because the person feels inadequate, and because they do, they would again make you try to conform through manipulation because they're impulsive. There's a part of this person that is impulsive, and it would always put you in a place of disempowerment, and you would always be in a place of hypervigilance because it would always trigger the anxiety within inside of you, and that's the thing. It's like this person needs to do the healing, is what I keep seeing over and over and over again because, you know, of what happened in their childhood. They grew up the same way you did. It's just they learned how to be a narcissist, where you were an empath, where you were sensitive, where you were taught to give, this person closed down and they seek out people that they feel are that are going to give. And there's a part of this person that still wants that, still wants to come back, and it's again, but they haven't done the healing. you know they will say that they love you because they think that that's love. But the problem with the narcissist is they usually put you on a pedestal only to rip you off that pedestal. You were the fixer, you were the savior, you were that person that came in and fixed them, and then eventually they dispose of you. And that's the thing, that's like what a narcissist does. They use you for what they can use you for. You already learned that lesson, Spirit says. And that's why, you know, that this person wants you more. But what I see is there's a part of them that's like, oh, now I'm gonna have to do so much work and I don't really want to do that. Let me see how I can manipulate doing it. But they'll say, yeah, I might have manipulated, but it's like I really care about you. I really, they're gonna make it again like they care about you, and in their mind they do, but that type of love is not caring. It's control, is what Spirit's saying. you know, and that's the issue is that you're dealing with. So let's see. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. So we look at the inner child wounds and the inner child wounds. Well, listen, you have trauma, and the trauma came from the fact that, hey, you grew up with like a narcissist that was rageful and angry and made and shamed you and neglected you. That was the trauma. When you grow up with a narcissist that neglects you and makes you feel bad, which narcissists tend to do that when you don't make them look good. And Spirit's saying the rage, like it actually, like it gave you, you're someone that's very resilient, Spirit saying. You're someone that's actually very strong because you went through all this trauma with this parent, but you learned how to be like a loner. You learned how to be someone that felt really comfortable being maybe like an introvert. It's not that you're not friendly, but there's a sense of, again, resiliency was the gift that you got from growing up in that environment. But you attracted this person because, hey, they would make you feel like a loner. They would definitely do that because they definitely would be neglecting you, not giving you anything because look at them. They don't really want to give. It's like they'll say that they care, but there's still a part of this person that's like in their ego. And is full of anger because they haven't healed. So Spirit says you would be right back in your trauma, you know. Not to be redundant, but that's what this reading pretty much is all about. It says like, you know, you had an opportunity to like heal that, and this connection is part of that by not taking this person back. Because understand they want to come back. They want a second chance with you. And Spirit says, don't, because they'll keep you in an energy of feeling like there's something wrong with you because you're a highly sensitive person, and they'll keep you overstimulated because you can't trust them. And you already know that. So this is not about whether you care about this person, it's about knowing that you can't have someone in your life that's like that. They're just not gonna, do what you need them to do. They can't. They can't give you what you need. And so Spirit says, understand that some situations just happen to help you alchemize the negative energy. That you use the power to turn the negative energy into positive change based on the fact that you have new, like deep wisdom from previous experiences. And here you have this new opportunity to again see the situation that mirrors a previous situation where you felt not capable, not safe, where you were overstimulated, to be able to see yourself not overstimulated and have your energy like demanded and commanded your way. And spirit saying it's like you have the wisdom. And even if that's, hey, I already know that you're someone that will overstimulate me. So I'm not going to give you that much of my time, my energy when they come back. Where the old you would have cared. The old you would have felt bad for this person and they would have played on that. And now it's again, you already know who you are, and you're like, no, I know that I'm going to feel bad for them because that's how I am. So I'm not going to give them the time. And what you realize is that all experiences, good or bad, shape your soul's evolution so that you can learn and grow. And this was about you using your voice and maybe telling this person exactly what they did, how they did it, why they were in the situation that they are. Kind of like, hey, listen, you thought that I was your option. You thought that you were going to give me nothing and I was still going to be there. Well, it's been very satisfying and healing a lot of times when you're able to, again, express yourself and you're able to express your actual feelings, where it's spirit saying, speak the truth. This person doesn't want to say anything. They want to come back. They just want to like fix it and have things go easy and have you again fall for this surface relationship where really spirit thinks it's time to use your voice. Again, it's going to be very satisfying, believe it or not. Everything's happening in divine time. Everything's unfolding according to plan. Spirit's saying that God's making a way where there is no way just for you. This person had nothing to do with it. This was a karmic test to teach you about learning how to love yourself and to be able to, again, see infinite possibilities for yourself. That this is about fulfilling the promise to yourself by becoming yourself, by loving yourself so that you can attract people and situations and experiences into your life that reflect abundance, not lack, not people that are narcissistic, that don't want to give you anything. Understand those people go to everyone, but recognizing who this person is and being able to express that and set boundaries is huge because you can't go back in time and deal with that narcissist parent. But a lot of times, a parent can be long gone and they still haunt us. And they still haunt us because the dynamic of the connection that we had with that parent is playing out within like our relationships, new relationships. So we're stuck in that hell. And what really it is that the way that your body responds, again, is other people can see if you get overstimulated and you have a hard time setting boundaries. If you don't feel comfortable in certain energies, people then that are imbalanced can they first of all, narcissists seek out that energy. Narcissists seek out highly sensitive people. It's not that empaths go to those people, it's that narcissistic people look for the person that they perceive is going to be the fixer, is going to be the healer, is going to be that person that is going to be the new supply. Again, they come in like the victim. And so Spirit's saying, no, this is about you no longer being the victim. It's about you owning your energy so that this way you're not going to be overstimulated and you own your energy by again fulfilling your promise to yourself and telling this person exactly what they did and how to do it and choosing yourself and stepping in that place of faith and realizing that the divine has a plan for you, that this person has nothing to do with your plan. And even if they could have been, a lot of times they could have been. They could have been your reality, but there's a better reality. There's many different realities that play at one time. You having the wisdom allows you to break that ancestral karma of, how your parent was brought up. Your parent was brought up by a narcissist, so they became a narcissist. They didn't become an empath. And a lot of times, highly sensitive people that continue to live experiences of pain, well, they can turn into a narcissist because their reality is, that they're not safe, that they have to shut down their heart, that they have to only think for themselves, look out for themselves, because they are then lived a reality where they're not safe. Just sometimes, the person grows up being more of an empath, saying, well, I'm not going to repeat that same behavior. I'm going to be good, but they go too far that the other way. They didn't find their balance through being secure within themselves and really getting a better connection to the body. Really, we get balance through being present in the moment, being having a connection to the physical body. And understand, if you had trauma from a parent that was a narcissist, well, you would be detached, disassociated to deal with that. Because again, growing up with a narcissist is traumatic. So we end off with one more, which is guidance. In times of uncertainty, you ask God to guide you to the light in your own being, that you're directed to doors that will open inner freedom to you, and step forward and trust that you release your fate to God and your faith is rewarded. So again, you're in a place of faith. It's like this is not like this person didn't stop your path. They didn't influence your path, thank God. They could have. They were karmic, but due to the fact that you had already learned, again, you have freedom. And understand there's always freedom in your faith, because you know that there's a greater force that is working through you and in your environment, and that all you need to do every day is show up the best that you know how, and your best that you can be, is going to be rewarded, because the universe doesn't look at how perfect you are. It looks at how much passion, how much heart you have, and how much resilience you have. And so Spirit says, calm your thoughts and rise above fear. Free yourself of all doubt by entrusting your doubt to God. Have faith in God's perfect timing and placement. And again, you're not in charge of how you manifest. And this goes back to the beginning of the reading. So it's about learning to surrender your process. Don't judge your process. Don't talk to yourself the way that narcissistic parent talked to you. And Spirit saying, know that the support's coming from God, and trust His will, and you find freedom, because you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. The path unfolds again while you're on it. I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.